Hopefully I'm not roboting out here. 2 bars now. 1 bar. Are you guys able to hear me okay? You are? Okay. Huh. Strange. There's not a whole heck of a lot of car traffic here, which I'm a little surprised. I thought being Thursday before a holiday, there'd be a lot of people out here, but maybe they're doing their last-minute Christmas shopping or something. I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully we can get a talk in here.
Check video description or comments for links to specific sections of this talk.
Just to remind you of the etiquette here. When I'm waiting for a talk, feel free to unmute yourself. You could chat amongst yourselves or ask me a question. But if I suddenly say something like, "Hey, good morning, how are you today?" If I start engaging with somebody, that's your cue to mute your mic and please be quiet and listen. If at any point during the conversation I say something like, I'm kind of wondering what question I should ask you next. If you think that you have a good question that could be helpful to the conversation, that is that's your permission to go ahead and unmute yourself, ask your question, the question that you want me to entertain asking, and I'll entertain it. If I don't answer the question, if I don't ask the question that you've proposed, like in the next minute, that probably means I didn't like the question. And then feel free, if there's somebody else that wants to ask a different question, go ahead and unmute yourself, ask your question, and then mute yourself. That seems to work out pretty well. And then if I do have a really good talk, immediately after, I try to do a post-conversation breakdown. So if you can hold off from unmuting yourself, that would be great. Give me a chance to record my immediate thoughts right after the conversation. Good morning. How are you today?
Good.
How was your walk?
Huh? It was good.
Was it good?
Good.
Nice. Have we chatted before?
Huh?
Have we chatted before?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm doing interviews with people. I'm doing something called street epistemology. Have you heard of it yet? Okay. It's a way of taking a claim. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a way of taking a claim that you think is true. And then I ask questions to gently challenge how you got to that point of certainty. How could you be so sure that burying a statue in my backyard is going to help sell my house faster? Or karma is real? Or I'm absolutely sure that there's a higher power? Or even your stance on some political topic. Do you want to do a short little conversation where we explore that?
Sure.
Okay. I appreciate it. What's your name?
Diana.
I'm Anthony. Very nice to meet you. How far did you walk for today?
I don't know. I just, about an hour.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yes.
Do you want some water?
No, I got some. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Diana, are you okay if I record this?
Sure. For what purpose?
Well, if I have a really good chat, I do like to put them on my YouTube channel or take the audio and release it just as a solo.
Okay.
Another option, too, is we can have the conversation, and if you're not cool with it, let me know, and I won't use any of the footage.
Okay.
Another option is I can blur your face. I mean, we have all sorts of options.
Okay. No, record my face.
Can I just record sort of from like your torso down?
Yeah.
So we are capturing some video.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
This is weird. That's all.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. It's very weird.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
I chose this location because usually people have a little bit of time. Sometimes they come here to think about things.
Yes.
That are
true.
maybe troubling them. Or they've been struggling with something that they thought was true for the longest time. And then maybe now they're not so sure. Or actually anything else in between.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have one more request.
Okay.
It's about cameras. Could I stick a camera above your head, but it's pointing down at me?
Okay.
So that way I could at least bounce between sort of this view and that view.
Okay.
Okay. Are you cool with this? Okay. Thank you very much. Now, while I'm setting up the camera, is there a particular topic that is crossing your mind that might be something you want to actually chat about?
No, I'm just a little curious on where this is going to go.
Well, Yeah. Wait, where the conversation's gonna go?
Yes.
Yeah. The
It's,
conversation tends to go where you take me. So I want to be a mirror to the beliefs that you have. I want you to actually sort of face your beliefs and look at them and say, wow, like, is that really what I believe? Is that why I believe it? Is that how I concluded that it's true? That's kind of my goal here is to help you take another look at some belief that is kind of core to who you are, maybe even
okay.
maybe something that you think it's so true that you behave differently. Like you might light incense because you think it wards off evil spirits, or you might donate to an organization because you think like that God is real, or anything like that, or even a political party or whatever.
Oh, I do believe that God's real.
Okay, that's a common topic people pick.
Yes, but that's why I'm like, okay, where's this going? But yeah, I just became a Christian 2 years ago, so
No kidding.
yeah.
What were you before that?
I was a Catholic, but then I was undecided between here and there, so kind of found myself like I'm gonna say 2-3 years ago. So I was in a
Okay.
situation. So
Let me repeat it back to make sure I get it. About 2 to 3 years ago, you at one point you used to be a Catholic, and then about 2 to 3 years ago, something changed, and now you don't identify as a Catholic. You identify as somebody that just believes in a God. Do you carry a label with it? Like, are you a Christian, Muslim?
I'm just a Christian. Just
Okay.
A Christian. Yes. I mean, I do believe in God, and He created Jesus and for our sins. And
Okay.
so that kind of.
So even though you don't adhere to the Catholic stuff anymore, you're still a Christian. You think that there's a God, and then Jesus is His Son. Okay. Have you? I'd like to ask a couple of questions to see how sure you are that that's really true and real. Are you okay if I do that?
Sure, I wasn't ready for that.
You weren't ready for that, or you were?
It's funny because I tried to explain that to my son because we had that conversation earlier with one of his kids. One of his classmates and stuff. So it was a conversation that we had this morning.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny how we're having this conversation now.
How recent was your conversation with your son about it?
Well, I had to drop him off at 7:30. So
It was today?
Yes, it's today, matter of fact.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask, like, what was the nature of the conversation that your son had that prompted you to have the conversation with him? Like, what was that about?
What it was is because they said that Jesus was stronger than God. And I guess the child that he was talking to is a different type of religion.
Okay.
And that he mentioned something that he went mute for.
Jesus went mute?
He went mute. The child went mute.
Oh, the kid went mute.
So I was trying to explain to him that we're trying to talk about Adam and Eve and how Eve ate the apple and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. So, yeah.
I think it's awesome that you're having conversations like that. How sure would you say that you are that the Christian God is real? Can you put it on a scale from 0 to 100?
I would say I'm like 70 because I'm still working on myself. I'm not totally 100% Christian, but I want to say that I'm working to becoming better. Of course, we have consequences in our decisions that we make, and I'm working on it.
You said that you're still working on yourself. What does that mean exactly in relation to this belief?
Trying to just believe to change my life a little bit, I guess. To not be so worried or have so much fear or there's more in life than just, parties and drinking and all that good stuff. Yes, once in a while, but not to the point where you get all crazy and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm not perfect. We're not perfect.
Okay. What would you say is the main reason why you think that it's actually true and real?
Okay. Well, it's not a hard question. That's
Take as much time as you need. Seriously, there's no rush for me.
like, what do you mean, true?
True and real in reality, where it's a fact.
Okay,
Do you have a different idea of the word true?
maybe.
Maybe. Can we do a quick little thought experiment?
Sure.
Okay. I carry these candies around for this very possibility when the word true comes up. If I think that there's an even total number of pieces in here, and let's say you take odd. If we were to count them up and come up with a total number of pieces, would you agree that there's a true number? It's either even or odd, and it can't be both.
Yes.
Okay. So if I said even, you said odd, we counted 23. That's an odd number. I would be incorrect by saying even, and you would be correct by saying odd. Okay.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. It would be true that I was mistaken, and it would be true that you were correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Wow. That's true. Well, it's just things that I've been through that the reason I believe that he is true. Again, God is a forgiving God, and it goes back to just the things that I've been through and where I'm at now. It's amazing how back then it's with a little bit of pay and a little bit of having 3 kids, no child support, divorce, single, and I am.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's good. I'm happy, and I've come a long way, and to believe that we're not alone, and that there is something better out there, and it's just amazing.
Okay.
How far I've come.
What I hear you saying is you've had lots of personal experiences and you've gotten through a lot of difficulties. You've been through a lot of things. And because you got through those things, and maybe even life is better now than it was then, that is the main reason why you think that there's a higher power, that the Christian God is real. Is that right? Okay.
I mean, there's times that things happen. It's like, okay, where did this come from? I was like, okay. So
what kind of
I could give you one example. One example is, I mean, it was about 2 years ago. I was in a car. I had a flat tire. I had no money, and I had no idea how I was going to pay this tire. I was able to make it to the tire place, and I had no idea. I had my boys with me, and I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? So, sure enough, not knowing anybody there.
at the tire place?
At the tire place.
Yeah.
He fixed my tire. It was time to pay. And matter of fact, there was a gentleman next to me that he was already done and everything. And he was able to pay for my tire.
He was able to pay for your tire?
Yes. I didn't even know him. He didn't even, we didn't shake hands. We did nothing. He just went in, paid, and left.
Okay.
And when it was time for me, they told me, oh, they already paid for you.
How nice.
So I was like, what?
Okay.
Until that day, I held on. And, I mean, I was still like, okay, in doubt, you know? And just little things.
Was your confidence level prior to that incident less than 70%?
Like, not believing?
You said that you said something like, up to that point, I was in doubt. So I'm kind of, did that event then jump you? Was that one of the reasons why you're at a 70 now?
Yes.
Where were you prior to the incident with the tire?
To tell you the truth, at that point, before I became a Christian, I didn't like Christians.
You didn't like to what?
I didn't like Christians.
Okay, you don't like Christians.
Back then, I was like,
You know what I'm wondering? Does it matter what religion that guy was? Like if he was
No.
wearing a turban and was Muslim, would you then be 70% sure that the Christian God was real from that incident?
yes.
Okay. What if that person was an atheist?
That's a good one. I don't know. But he has a heart.
Yeah. If an atheist paid for your tire that day, let's say we dug up the records and actually found out the name of the person that was there prior to you checking out. We're not going to do this, but let's just say that we did.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I'm an atheist. I don't believe that there's any God. Would it warrant you jumping to a 70% confidence that your God was real?
That's a tricky question because, yes, I understand that question, and it's very hard to change it, but no, I'll still believe
Okay.
there is God.
Regardless of the beliefs that that person holds, it has no bearing on you becoming more confident that your God was real. Okay. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. What was it about the personal experience that made you conclude that your God was more real because of that incident? Why couldn't it have just been, you said something like, sometimes I wonder, where did this come from? Why did you decide to look at that experience and move up on your confidence that your God was real, rather than just say, that was a nice thing that some random stranger did for me?
I don't know. I'm in shock on that one. I really don't know how to answer that one.
We have hit 5 minutes. Do you want to end it right now so you could just think about that? Or do you want to keep talking?
Yeah.
End it? Let's end it on that note.
Okay, that was a good one.
I think I've asked you enough questions and maybe given you something to think about. And I don't want to, the last thing I want to do is overwhelm people with questions. And I believe me,
Yeah.
I could probably ask you 30 more questions,
I mean,
but I don't want to overwhelm a complete stranger in
well,
7 minutes here.
I mean, everybody has their opinions. I came to the point where everybody has their opinions. I mean, I have family that are not Christians. And I have my daughter's boyfriend, her family, his family is they're Judaism?
Jewish?
Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a hard situation because
Yeah.
I do believe that there is a God. If it's if it's a certain type of religion, well, then that's that religion.
Is your view that a God exists, is this an opinion or is it a factual claim?
That's a good question. Well, again, it goes back to different opinions of different people. I would think it's true, a fact.
You think it's factually true that the Christian God is real?
Yes.
If somebody, let's think back to our even and odd numbers. If I thought there was an even total number of pieces in there and we counted them up and it was odd, I would be factually incorrect in that position. If I thought that there was no God, am I factually correct in that position? Are you factually correct in yours?
I would think I'm fact with mine, and you're fact with yours. You have your own. Doesn't go back with the opinions. Yes.
So I think we're getting down to something really interesting here.
Yeah.
Is the claim that a God is real,
Okay.
is this a factual claim that we can justify? By, for example, counting the pieces, so to speak.
Well, there's no way you could see God as it is. It's like a pair of hair. I mean, you can feel it, but there's no way of seeing it. So it goes back again. It's one of those things. I think it's the person. I don't really know how to answer that question.
Okay. Well, we should wrap it up. unless you want to keep talking. And this is actually a really good time. If you have any questions for me,
Okay.
you can hit me up with questions now. And I have any, hit me up with questions right now if you'd like. And there's my card with my email. What did you think? You want to give me a little bit of feedback about the talk? And you're not going to hurt my feelings. You'll be brutally honest.
I mean, it was interesting. I mean, it's a little scary for me, my opinion, because I'm I don't just come and talk to anybody.
Not only did you stop for a stranger, but we talked about, is that pollen? Is that pollen blowing? Oh, man,
Yeah.
look behind you. There's all that dust. Yeah.
Okay.
Today's a bad day for pollen. Or a bad month, maybe. Not only did you stop for a stranger, but you talked about a very sensitive belief, and you ended up letting me record it too, which I greatly appreciate. I think it's brave for you to do that. Setting all that aside, though, about the topic that we discussed and the reasons that you're using to be 70% sure that your God is real, what did you think about it? Like, did you find it interesting? Did you find it uncomfortable? Was there some other explanation? I'd love to get a little bit of feedback.
Well, it gave me a little bit of because I'm always given that question of, because again it goes back to my sister and her husband and everybody around me, is that why do you believe in God?
Yeah.
So, and I would never answer that question because of the fact that it could get to another level, to different opinions and different mindsets that I might not think that I'm ready to answer.
Oh, interesting.
And so, me talking to you kind of opened up a little bit of that situation. So that's why I was like, what? Because I've
Cool.
I haven't had that conversation with my family. And they're always asking me the question, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get that. I'm not gonna get it.
You're a little reluctant to participate in conversations with your family about why they believe or why you believe.
And why do I even do the things I do, or
Yeah.
why is it, why is it that it's just, I don't have that conversation with them.
Most people don't usually have these conversations, but what I find is that when I initiate them here, they tend to like having them a little bit because they don't normally have it with their family and friends. And it's like, oh wow, finally I get actually a chance to explore this a little bit, even though they weren't expecting to at the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of the response that I usually get. Yeah.
So it was a good
Yeah.
surprising. And I wasn't ready to come out.
No, that was really cool.
But what exactly is it?
Yeah.
Atheist, or what is exactly?
Street epistemology.
What is that?
Here, you can take that. It's a magnet. It's a dialectical approach. That's kind of a weird term. It's a way to have a conversation with a person where you ask questions to explore a deeply held belief in a way that is kind of fun and intriguing, and it's not confrontational, where we're arguing and I'm presenting you with facts to show that you're wrong on your view, for example, or here's my view, and I really want you to believe what I believe. This is all about you. Why do you think that this is true? How did you determine that those are good reasons? How can we be sure that the personal experiences that you're having that are increasing your confidence warrant an increase in confidence? Like, what I'm wondering is, for example, if you hadn't had that experience in the car shop, if you just, I put it on my credit card and now I got to take that extra shift to cover it or whatever, would you be still below the 70%? Would you be at a 70% now?
I think it would have been a little bit of okay.
What do you mean?
Struggle.
That it would have been a struggle if he hadn't paid for it.
Yes.
But in regards to you increasing your confidence, would you be at a 70% today if that incident didn't happen and similar incidences?
I would say I would be a little bit, not as bad. Because, I mean, that one day was the day that it started.
I see. That was the big event that got you started on your journey to being more sure that your God is real.
Yes. So there was other situations and a little bit of, And just learning about myself a lot of times because, again, I was raised differently.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't have rules or discipline or anything. So
Oh, wow.
to come to a place where, okay, there's actually rules and disciplines and
Yeah.
consequences. And, it's just part of growing up, I guess.
Yeah. May I ask you one more question before you go? Okay. Is it conceivable that a person might have had that experience where they're there with their kids, their tires flat, somebody pays for them, and they don't look at it like, oh, this is a good reason for me to think that there's a God. They just say, oh, that was just a really nice action by this stranger.
Yes, there's a lot of I believe that.
My question regarding that would be, why do you think they would just say that was just a nice action by a stranger and you took it as justification to be more sure that your God is real?
That's funny how you had that conversation because I had that conversation yesterday with my sister.
No kidding.
I don't know why. I really don't understand why people don't. I don't know. I really don't know.
You don't understand why people wouldn't make the leap to say that it was a God? Or you don't understand why people would make the leap to make the leap to think it was a God?
I wouldn't understand why people wouldn't.
You don't understand why people wouldn't make the leap to think that a God had anything to do with it.
Yes.
What would you tell somebody who had that incident? How would you convince them that actually it was a God? Okay.
To teach you that, wow. You really have me thinking.
Awesome.
No, you really have me thinking. I don't know. I just, it just comes a long way. I guess, it goes back again, being a good person, I guess. Having a good mindset.
Do you think that you're a better person today because you think that the God is real?
I would have to say yes.
Do you think the person who chalked that experience up to just a nice stranger that helped them is not as good as a person because they didn't make the leap?
No, I don't think that person is any bad or anything just because they don't believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you look at you making the increase in confidence after that experience and tie it to you being a better person because of it?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's more feeling more safe. I guess believing that there is a God.
It's more safe to look at that incident and conclude that the God is real than not?
Wow, you have me going.
Let's end it.
Yes.
I feel like you've several times now you said, I don't know, I need to think about it. When I have someone as pleasant as you who's really thinking about it, it's hard for me to not keep asking questions. Maybe one of the best things that I should do is just end it and maybe give you some time to process it. Yeah. Do you come to the trail frequently? Because I'd love to.
This is the first one.
Okay.
This is the first time I've come here.
What'd you think of the trail?
It was good. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was
You were on it for an hour.
Yeah.
You didn't get lost, did you?
No.
Okay.
No. I have my little GPS. So
nice. Sometimes people get lost on it.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like, oh, give me some water. I was on there for 3 hours and I couldn't find my way off. That's happened once.
It's not that bad. You just follow the trails. At first it was but it's not bad.
All right, Diana, if you have any more questions for me, hit me up. I'll answer any question that you have, as long as it's not too personal. But yeah, ask me any question you want right now or later over email.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want a water now, or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, really great talk there with Diana. As I mentioned there at the end of the conversation, when you meet somebody who's that open and that questioning, it's tough to stop. Even though I could probably talk with her for 2 hours, but I think at some point you reach a limit maybe where, the cup is full. Pouring anything more into it is going to just run over. So I think ending it was a good thing to do. Even when she was asking me about what I did, what I was doing out here, I spotted an opportunity to turn it around and keep asking her questions, which again, I'm out here to challenge people, but I think she had a lot on her plate, and you don't want to overwhelm a person to the point where they just lock down. But she wasn't locking down. Like, she was seriously entertaining the questions that I was giving to her. She was talking a little low, so I'm not sure if that was actually getting caught on my broadcast to the Discord server or not. I'm hoping that my mic here was able to catch it. It seemed like the conversation gave her a lot to think about. We surfaced a lot of ideas. She gave this wonderful example about somebody at a car repair shop helping her and paying for her tire while she was there with her kids and she couldn't pay for it. And in her mind, that was enough to justify moving up. That was the start of a bevy of personal experiences that moved her up to a high degree of confidence that her God was real. We talked a little bit about if the beliefs that person held had any bearing on her position, and it didn't seem like that was the case. And then she said something really interesting at the end there, that she views herself as being a good person because she thinks that this belief is true. And somebody that didn't look at that instance and move up in confidence that their God was real wouldn't be a good person. So we explored that a little bit, but if we were to meet again, I think that would be the topic that I'd like to focus on a little bit more. It might also be worth asking, why aren't you at the 100%? What's keeping you from going to that higher position? It might be the recognition that these personal experiences don't carry as much weight as she currently thinks that they do. I do think that slipping in the thought experiment there with the candies proved useful. She made a clear distinction between fact and opinion, subjective truth and objective truth. And I think it became handy when we circled back to whether this God can either exist or not exist. And then perhaps finally in closing, at no point did she mention faith. That didn't seem to be in the mix here, which if I were to meet with her again, that possibly could come up, but maybe it never does. So it's kind of interesting how these beliefs are formed and what they're being based on, and how sometimes a supernatural belief like a God existing is not based on faith at all. Oh, by the way, this reminds me, make sure that you check out the streetepistemology.com website. We're in the process of updating it, but there's a huge amount of resources out there. We have a blog, there's links to other YouTube channels who are doing this, and all sorts of other things that I think you'll find very valuable if you want to learn more about this approach. Thanks so much for watching, and take it easy. Well, that was about 5 minutes. Thank you so very much. Do you have any questions for me before we wrap it up?
No, but I do hugs. I don't shake
Let's
hands.
do a hug. All right.
That's what we're
All right, my buddy.
And
All right.
heart to heart.
Okay.
So heart.
There we go.
You're a cool dude, bro.
You are too, man. You are too.